Great. And again, if you prefer to stay off camera or change your name for the recording purposes, that's completely fine. Great. So thank you again so much for joining. It's great to see everybody here. It's great to see so many current Document Cloud users and potential Document Cloud users, as well as people who haven't explored this yet. I do not think we have closed captioning for the live session, but we will have it for the uploaded version of it. Thank you for that question. All right. I'm Michael Morrissey. I'm the co-founder of Muckrock. We're a journalism and transparency nonprofit. We're distributed team all across the United States right now, but we also work with organizations around the world on public records work, as well as sort of helping organizations analyze and understand what's in documents, and then publishing those documents for their readers, their community to have access to. One of the things that we really believe in is the power of primary source materials to help build a stronger, more informed public. And what we're trying to do with this program is help other organizations kind of build on the tools that we've offered, as well as start taking advantage of advanced technologies like machine learning, automation, and the distributed web. One of our partners for this program is the Filecoin Foundation for the Decentralized Web. And what they have been doing is finding new ways to kind of permanently preserve humanity's most important documents through the power of decentralized storage and other decentralized technologies. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I'm going to share my screen and dive right in. So this is our second round of what we're calling gateway grants. And one of the things with gateway grants is that we're trying to kind of help other organizations take advantage of new technologies that can help you with your existing work. We've run this platform called Document Cloud for a number of years. We've got about 4,000 newsrooms and other verified organizations that use the platform as a place to store, collaborate on and analyze, and also publish primary source materials. This includes everything from documents published via the Freedom of Information Act and public records requests to leaked documents that newsrooms and civic groups get that help really kind of inform what's going on behind the scenes. The Gateway Grants program was designed to, as we kind of expanded sort of the ways that Document Cloud worked, help find early use cases that really demonstrated the power of automation, of integration between Document Cloud and other tools, as well as the power to kind of build new workflows that help get, analyze, publish, and preserve really important documents. One of the things that we've seen over the past decade is increasingly we're seeing both governmental and corporate pressure against posting materials. That makes it harder to kind of keep things available, harder to kind of actually sift through large mountains of data to figure out what's important, and really more important than ever to kind of make sure that we're getting and keeping really important information, understanding it fully, and then publishing it so that the public can understand what actually is going on, and also strengthen existing reporter and existing civic efforts that are going on when we've got an increasingly skeptical public. One of the things that we've been doing with Document Cloud is also making it easier for other people to kind of build on our existing platform. So one of the things is that Document Cloud is anybody can sign up and request verification and start using the service for free. And it's got a whole lot of kind of baked in functionality that allows you to search and index documents, as well as how to kind of like then publish them for your readers. And so you can embed snippets of documents or entire documents within an article or within a homepage so that people can kind of see that primary source information. But one of the things we found is that a lot of times if you get hundreds or thousands of documents, or if you're trying to monitor a local government institution in an ongoing way, sometimes we needed to help people go a little bit further. And so what we've done is build out what we call add-ons that allow, with a little bit of code, you to add on additional functionality right within Document Cloud.
Recording in progress.
So that might mean a tool that helps you kind of automatically extract data from a document. It might mean a tool that automatically kind of reviews documents on a daily basis and lets you know about the most important ones, or all sorts of other different ways that Document Cloud users can extend the platform, both for themselves, and then they can publish these add-ons for other people to build on. So some of the existing add-ons that we have developed with our community help people uncover secrets. So if you get back a document from a government agency and they didn't fully redact all the important information, we have one add-on called Bad Redactions with X-Ray that will go through all those redactions and see if there's any text hidden underneath them that you can extract. Another add-on called PII Detector looks for personally identifiable information and highlights that. So if you are working on a big series and you're publishing a series of documents, you can make sure that you're not accidentally publishing private information without getting a chance to kind of review it to make sure that there's nothing that should be secret accidentally getting published. We also have add-ons that turn documents into data. So a lot of times, if you've spent much time with public records, you'll see an agency will print out a spreadsheet and mail it to you. Or sometimes you get hundreds of letters supporting or opposing a given policy, and you want to turn all these letters into maybe a spreadsheet that can help you more easily analyze them. And so we have an add-on we call Tabula that's built on the Tabula open source software that turns printed PDFs into spreadsheets if they used to be spreadsheets. And then we have other tools like a regular expression extractor that can make it easy to kind of say, okay, if this document contains this language, pull that out and drop it into a spreadsheet for me. We also have add-ons that do automate monitoring and archiving of documents. So maybe you're paying attention to a local government agency that you're interested in, and you want to know anytime they upload new documents that mention some keywords that you're really closely following. We have a scraper add-on that will do exactly that and send you alerts and also archive any documents. So if that agency later removes information, you have a copy safely in your Document Cloud account. And then we also have add-ons that will automatically post your materials, not just to Document Cloud, but also to the Filecoin network, something called the Interplanetary File System, and the Internet Archive, so that your information is distributed and safe, so that even if our site is blocked or is taken down, it's posted to other places so that you can ensure that information stays available for the long term. We've also been doing things to integrate AI and machine learning and other automation so that if you get back hundreds or thousands of documents and you want a quick summary to kind of know where to start, we have tools that will do that summarization for you in a very quick and cost-effective way, or kind of even just show you, okay, what is the section of these documents that I really want to focus on starting to review and read first, so that if you get a big document dump, you can get a sense of where to begin before you start diving in. But one of the things that we're really excited about is now that we've got sort of a number of proof of concepts of sort of what we can do with this platform, figuring out what we can do with our community of users to extend that even further. And so we've launched round 2 of the Gateway Grants program to support those projects with a mix of both financial support. So we're giving away grants between $10,000 and $50,000, as well as technical support. And so we have our own development team that's really eager to kind of help people take their ideas or take sort of their existing tools and then turn those into something that everybody who uses Document Cloud can benefit from. Grants are in 4 different categories, which we're going to talk a little bit more in depth: collection preservation, feature integration, document collection and analysis, and then cross-organization document-driven collaborations. So the first of those categories is collection preservation. And this is probably the most straightforward category. One of the things that we're really interested in is sort of all of this important information out there. There used to be that expression, sort of, the internet is forever. One thing we've increasingly found is that with a very dedicated adversary, increasingly that information is not forever. And so there are important collections of documents and information that is at risk. Maybe it's at risk due to funding issues or stability issues. Maybe it's at risk of government surveillance or censorship. And so one of the things that we're really interested in doing is kind of figuring out what are some key document collections and what can Document Cloud do to help preserve them. Maybe that is getting paper documents scanned in and uploaded and made public so that they're more widely available and digitally preserved. Maybe that's taking documents where you are facing a repressive government, and what can we do to kind of help get those documents not just on Document Cloud, but also on the decentralized web, so that it is harder to censor access to them or harder for governments to issue takedown requests to kind of stop access to that information. And so this is for any collection that is of high public importance, but needs some additional support and help kind of thinking through what can we do to kind of preserve availability of this information despite real threats to its access. The second category is feature integration. One of the things with Document Cloud we've seen a lot of success with is taking tools that people have built to address a kind of a very individualized issue. Maybe that's, again, extracting PowerPoint extracting spreadsheets out of PDFs and turning them back into spreadsheets. Or maybe it's, hey, I need to go through all these documents and extract this certain type of information, and helping generalize those tools and make them a little bit more accessible so that other people can benefit from them. And so feature integration, we are looking for projects that do something with documents or that do some kind of analysis or automation where there's a real world use case out there, but they need a little more support to make them more user friendly. And we can find a way to kind of integrate them within the other Document Cloud ecosystem. And so anything that will kind of benefit other people who are working with lots of documents, maybe that's an existing sort of command line tool you have, or a Python library that looks through documents or extracts information in an interesting way. These feature integration grants can help support continued development, both of that original functionality, as well as making it point and click easy for other people to take advantage of. Both of those grant rounds are $10,000 plus technical support from our team. And that will really depend on sort of what are your project's needs, and we'd love to kind of discuss what we can do to kind of help you make those happen. The document collection and analysis grant, this is a category that kind of brings together aspects of those first two areas, and both taking sort of a defined collection area, a defined sort of document set of information, and then also applying some new or existing technology to kind of help make the most out of that document collection. So maybe that is, hey, this agency regularly posts this information to this place. What we want to do is kind of make sure we are archiving all of that data, extracting it, and making it more usable. Or maybe you are looking at sort of, hey, we are trying to build a better workflow for whistleblowers to get in touch with us and make sure that we can securely and safely manage that information while offering it to our colleagues. The document collection and analysis grant should have both a specific document collection that you are interested in, or a document kind of category, as well as sort of original tooling kind of built up to that. For this category, we are expecting some technical capability. So maybe if you are a developer or are collaborating with a developer, that would be really good to kind of include in your grant application a little bit of that context in terms of sort of your technical capability to execute this project. We will help with the integration with Document Cloud and assist there, but you are expected to have some ability to kind of build out some of this tooling on your own. And then finally, a category for cross-organization document-driven collaborations. One of the things that Document Cloud has always had tremendous success with is kind of helping organizations, whether that's multiple news organizations or civil society organizations and other partners, work together on a specific document collection to kind of share notes, share documents, and then also kind of work together to kind of jointly publish that information in a way that kind of benefits the public. And so here, what we're looking for is maybe you are collaborating on a specific set of documents. Maybe you are collaborating because you both sort of see this shared need for some kind of workflow around analyzing documents or collecting those documents, but higher impact projects that kind of span multiple organizations. One of the things that we're really, really interested in kind of supporting across all of these grants is tools and techniques and document sets that are going to benefit the public in a number of different ways. And so if you're interested in this category, trying to think through not just how is this sort of going to be having a direct impact, but how other people can use this as a model for their own projects and own work going forward. The four main criteria of what we're looking for in grants are impact, creativity, ability, and benefit. The first is just what is the impact of this project going to be, right? If this is sort of the Pentagon Papers, where it's going to kind of have sort of world-changing impact, that's going to rank very, very highly. If this is a technically very impressive thing, but not sort of a super useful or not a large sort of public benefit, then that'll probably rank a little bit lower on that score. And so really, when you're kind of writing your application, helping people understand sort of what is the value, not just for your organization or for your team, but for the public at large in terms of the impact of this effort. Creativity. I think one of the things we're also looking for is what can you do to kind of extend sort of the existing document cloud infrastructure? What is new and novel about your approach? If you are just kind of posting a large set of documents that's already available online, that's not going to be particularly novel. And so what we're trying to do is look for new ways to both enable investigations and projects, but also new ways of helping engage the public in them. And so anything where you can kind of present new and interesting solutions that are going to move the field forward is going to rank really, really highly there. Ability. We also want to make sure that when you take on these projects, you're able to actually carry them through. We do have our technical team and our support team and even our editorial team are interested on contributing to projects and helping you take your ideas and get them out into the world. But we also want to understand sort of your team's track record on taking projects and executing them and sort of having that, taking that idea from idea to proposal to something that succeeds and benefits both directly through the completion of your project, but also something that others can sort of see and model on with their own projects going forward. And then benefit, which is sort of similar, but slightly kind of a nuanced take on impact, is sort of what is sort of going to make the world better about the existence of this project, right? You can have a lot of impact, but it won't necessarily be positive. So if you are posting a bunch of mug shots collected from police departments and posting those all online and kind of creating all these that might have a large impact, but might not necessarily be a large public benefit. And so what we're looking for is sort of something that will help inform the public, help the public kind of really get engaged and empowered on a given issue that you're tackling, and really outline sort of why this is important. We're always looking for sort of very practical, pragmatic impact in terms of how people use our tools and our services, and particularly for this grant program, being able to kind of look at the impact your proposal has and see sort of, how did this help create a more informed, more engaged society is something that we're really excited to explore with you. One of the things is, so the deadline for this grant program is March 17th. And then we will be kind of evaluating proposals from there. We are convening an independent commission of judges who will be kind of doing the final review of these projects. But if you submit your application early, we might have our team be able to kind of give you some feedback and suggest some revisions. So I know, I know it's very easy to kind of wait until the deadlines for all these sorts of things, but the sooner you get your application in, the more likely it is that we'll be able to provide feedback or suggestions, or maybe even connect you with potential partners that, because we do sort of see sometimes similar proposals come in. And if you're open to it, we'd love to make some suggestions that you can either take or not take in your final proposal. So that's the basics of the proposal and the project, but now I'd just like to open it up to any questions that you have and any questions, any ideas that you've got. So I see a question from Mark Tyler. If a person has a novel idea will benefit the public, that is there a list of Document Cloud developers that would work with the project on a fee basis? If you want to include that in the proposal, you can also reach out to us directly. We don't have sort of a existing base of like, hey, it's not like WordPress where we have like a large paid developer community, but we might be able to connect you if you reach out or earlier on and kind of explain sort of what would the technical capacity that you need. So please do reach out and we'll do our best to kind of connect or kind of give some guidance there. And depending on what your proposal is, we might be able to kind of support that in-house or find somebody who would be an interested collaborator. What is the format of her proposals? That's a great question. I'm going to drop in the actual application. It's just a form. And we did try to keep it fairly short. I don't think we put word guidance on there, but it's maybe about 20 questions-ish. But each of one of those is asking for at most a few paragraphs. And so we're not asking for a 10-page proposal. We are asking you to kind of run through all these questions and kind of make the case for sort of why your project's a good fit. One thing I've learned being on committees is that, a lot of times reading a very long, dense application is sometimes less is more. So that is that application. And if you haven't seen it, the full proposal information, the kind of the announcement is there. And so you can read through that. Great. Somebody asked, can you talk a bit more to the idea of public here? Do you have a particular audience in mind, US based? That's a great question. I think public is kind of defined as who is the audience that you're currently working for and with. Muckrock works with groups around the globe. And so we are particularly interested in kind of supporting efforts that focus on areas where information is increasingly under threat. So that is true in certain cases in the United States, but that's also very true around the world. And so I think if you can kind of explain, hey, we serve a community in this country or across this region, doesn't have to be US centric, doesn't have to be English focused. Document Cloud does work. I think we're currently in 6 languages and adding additional languages for the interface every month. So when we're talking about the public, we're talking about anybody who can benefit. So maybe that's a regional audience, maybe that's sort of specific type of people facing a situation that can be very broadly defined. For the collaborative grant, is it encouraged to consider collaborating with a media outlet if you're an advocacy organization, or collaborating with another advocacy organization that is community-based that can use the documents in a tangible way? That's a great question. So I think when you're thinking about collaborations, I think the 2 things I would most emphasize are sort of capacity to execute on this project. And then how does that kind of collaboration help you make that project so that it is more reusable for other people? Maybe you're working on, both of these organizations are interested in the same document set, but for very different purposes. Or you're kind of these 2 organizations are working on this, and the techniques that they'll be applying to those document sets are going to be reusable in other contexts. And so I think thinking through what is the partner that's going to help you maximize the long-term impact and benefit of this project. And so that could be, doesn't necessarily strengthen it to have a media and an advocacy organization, except to the extent that you're kind of bringing different perspectives on something. And I think there's some benefit there, but doesn't necessarily, I think it really depends on sort of how broadly and can you expand that impact, and how much capacity and how well will you work together with that organization. Yeah, what is the timeline for approved projects? Let me just double check. I think that's right now we're expecting projects to be finished in about 6 months. If there's some additional time needed beyond that initial project's timeline, I think there is some flexibility around that, but most projects we're planning to have scoped for the bulk of the work within six months. And if it's less than that, if it's more than that, there is flexibility there. Projects are expected, we hope to have all the decisions finalized in April. And so starting in April, May, and through the next 6 months. But I think that, again, depending on sort of your project needs and other timing, there is some flexibility there. Somebody asked, I want to organize and analyze a collection that is composed mostly of videos. Document Cloud is focused on documents. And so we don't have any capacity around video or audio or data for that matter. I mean, I think we mostly kind of kick things that are not documents to other services that are kind of purpose built for that. And so if this is a really video heavy project, it might not be the best fit for this program, quite frankly, because this is very much driven by sort of document analysis. That's kind of where this is focused. And I think there is some potential fit depending on that project scope, but I think that's going to be a harder pitch to make. Somebody already submitted a proposal and asked if there's a chance to supplement it or interact with somebody to further explain it or answer any questions. Yes, we'd love to kind of follow up on that. If you kind of want to submit a follow-up, that would be great. But I think we'd also be happy to thank you for submitting early. And I think we'd be happy to submit some feedback to give you the chance to make the best, strongest proposal possible. So we will be kind of doing some interim reviews and following up, and yeah, we'd definitely like to give you some feedback. Somebody asked, how much functionality does Document Cloud have to create an archive with, say, 2,000 plus documents within the Document Cloud URL, or are you expecting documents to be hosted on Document Cloud but organized in offsite URL? That's a really great question. I think one of the areas that we're really interested in is not just ways to kind of help extend how Document Cloud does analysis, but also presentation, I think is really important. We do have some existing sort of project collection features that sort of you can say, hey, all these documents are part of this one project, and just point people to that project URL. That's an area that we're interested in continuing to get feedback on and develop. And so I think we do have some functionality there, but that's also an area where both our development team is interested in building out and improving on. So looking forward to feedback, but also if you have specific ideas about how you can help people with that, I think there's ways that we could assist with that. But also if we have had people who kind of just use Document Cloud as a backend and put it through an entirely custom interface. So I think it depends on the project's needs, but I think for sort of like that 6-month prototype phase of this project, it's perfectly acceptable and welcome to kind of just use Document Cloud's existing organization and publication features. And then maybe longer term kind of build a more custom interface for that. But that's up to you. Somebody asked, the application mentions Muckrock assistance. What types of assistance can Muckrock offer? So there's a variety of ways. I think the first is we have an open source fellow who's dedicated to helping with the technical implementation of if you've got an existing tool or you've got some code and you're interested in kind of integrate that within the document cloud. So helping code that up, or kind of helping if you do like a project collection proposal, and you don't have any technical expertise in terms of software development, they can help kind of make sure, okay, we just did a project where we helped upload like 13 million documents into Document Cloud. So they were kind of helping with that upload process and managing that fairly extensively. Other areas that might just be a little technical assistance. We can also offer sort of partnership assistance. We have a wide range. We have about 4,000 partners on the Document Cloud platform and 100,000 users. And so helping connect you with other users where that would be welcome and helpful, as well as editorial assistance. We have an investigative editorial team that is interested in kind of talking through your projects with you, and potentially collaborating on some work if it's a good fit. A good question. Are there any guidelines as far as how funding should be used for approved projects? For example, how much should be used for toll creation versus fees for obtaining records? I'm not quite sure what you mean by toll creation, but I think this really kind of is going to vary from project to project. And I think just we are interested in funding both the time that goes in to make these projects happen, as well as sort of any other material costs. But don't think that everything has to go like, don't think you only have to fund records fees or kind of like hard costs, because we know that time needs to be funded as well. So I think some projects might be entirely funding people's time, and some projects might be entirely sort of quote unquote harder costs. So it really depends on that project. Great, good question. Somebody asked, when using the IPFS Filecoin add-on, are the content identifiers preserved as metadata or otherwise associated with the document on the Document Cloud? Yes, they are. So right now, and I can show you, I will drop a link to one of our biggest projects. I think our biggest project ever on Document Cloud was getting the CIA's CREST database onto Document Cloud. And that was also pushed to the Filecoin and IPFS networks. And so there you can see sort of both it right now that is saved as key value pairs. So Document Cloud has something called key value pairs, where you can basically kind of say, hey, I want a metadata field to say a location, and then I want to save something as that location. In this case, we use the IPFS URL as sort of that metadata. And so you can kind of get to that through there. One of the things we're working on in the coming months is improving our presentation and display of special metadata fields, so that this will be a more integrated experience into that Document Cloud side panel. Okay. Somebody asked, the session is being recorded, and we will share this afterwards once we kind of get that processed and up on YouTube. And I know there is some background noise, so yeah, if folks can mute, that would be helpful. Great. All right, excellent questions, everybody. Thanks so much. And if you haven't, I really encourage everybody to register for a free Muckrock account, log into Document Cloud, and then if you haven't used it before, you can request verification. It'll help me vet these applications. If you mentioned that you did come to this session, I can try to prioritize those verification requests, and then try out some of the add-ons and kind of get a sense for sort of what some of the existing functionality is, and get also a sense of where you see some of those gaps. There will be other grants. There's going to be at least one more round of this grant program, probably with somewhat similar terms. probably mid-year this year. So somebody asked, what's a Muckrock verified account? So Muckrock, anybody can sign up for an account. On Muckrock, you can just kind of start using Muckrock has a public record service, and anybody can just start using that. To upload documents to Document Cloud, though, we want to keep this a verified repository. And so what we do is we, when you request verification on Document Cloud, we do some basic checks to see, are you who you say you are? Are you affiliated with a research organization, a newsroom, another civil organization? Do you have a track record as a freelance reporter, or some kind of other sort of sense that there's accountability in terms of sort of you have a track record of not making up or forging documents or kind of posting false information. And those, once we kind of do that check, then we kind of verify your account, and then you can start uploading to Document Cloud. So without verification, a Document Cloud account does allow you to do some basic functionality, but it doesn't allow you to upload or publish documents. If you have follow-up questions, you can just reach out to me at michael@muckrock.com. I've got some upcoming travel, so I might connect you with a colleague for your questions, but would definitely love to kind of talk through your ideas and help you get answers. So you can just reach out, michael@muckrock.com, and yeah, I can help direct you to the right place. Great questions. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us today. And I do really appreciate it. And I hope folks apply. And we're really excited with all the things that people have been doing with Document Cloud since we started. And really over the past year, I think it was our biggest year by almost double in terms of how many documents we help process and publish. And we're really excited with what we're going to be able to do in partnership with all of you. So thanks so much, and we will talk soon. And if folks have other questions that they didn't get a chance to ask, I will hang around on the chat for a few more minutes. So this organization, there are some restrictions in terms of sort of where, but if we can get payment to you, most countries, we do accept applications from most countries unless there are specific regulations preventing us from paying out those grants. So unless you're very few countries where we can't offer grants to. So somebody just asked about a specific country. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. I will share out this recording after, and if you have other questions in the meantime, please reach out.